Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Louie.
My name is John.
And we are Echoes from the Pod. We'd like to thank our partnership with Dubby for sponsoring us and sending us this little
pre-workout
drink.
Pre-workout, I apologize. Let me rewind that. It is an energy drink, right? So Dubby is a coffee fruit extract energy drink company. This company is new. They're just barely trying to get products out there, and they partnered with us, who is also new, so we could try to build this relationship together. You know what I mean?
They have
currently. Hey man, it's my turn.
My bad.
Currently, we have Push and Punch, which I'm not gonna lie. As you see, that's pretty much what I'll be drinking during the podcast. From here on until then, I'm gonna be drinking different ones and letting you know what I think. I ain't gonna lie, this Push and Punch, it's rocking it so far.
It tastes better cold. They also have other flavors like cherry blossom. They have yuzu orchid.
Tiger's blood.
They have tiger's blood. They have s'mores. They have a Japanese soda flavor. They have
a solo leveling
inspired flavor. Igris Strike.
I believe it's probably like a berry, if I had to guess.
I'm assuming.
That's my assumption. I don't know yet.
But definitely go to their website, check them out. They have other products. They have tumblers, they have shakers, they have shirts, hats.
They got a big Tears energy one. Kind of curious on what that is.
Different kinds of stuff. And if you don't know what flavor you want to try, just hit the Chef's Choice. They'll send you a random one, and you can try it out.
Hey,
see how you like it.
To pick which random one you get.
Exactly.
You know, being partners and whatnot, we'll see what happens. Also, our discount code EFTP69 at checkout. Get that discount. Disquintos. Everybody loves them. So, on today's episode of Echoes from the Pod, what are we talking about today, man?
We're going to be talking about a lot of mental health stuff.
Okay.
Because that's the main point of this pod. So I was going to ask you.
Yes.
As you all know, we work at the prison. We worked there for a while. How has your life changed in the 10-year you have at the prison?
Man, that is a very good question. So when I started out almost 10 years ago, I was 20. I was 20 years old, fresh out of the oil field. I was with my girlfriend at the time. You know, I wasn't married yet. You know, man, I had a little apartment, you know what I mean? I had a little whatnot, kind of doing my own little thing, my little bachelor pad, as you could say, because I was a single, not single man, you know, but it's kind of there.
What he means by that is he wasn't married. He had a girlfriend, but you're still considered single if you're not married.
We didn't live together, so it was really just all my stuff. I had couches that didn't match. I had like 2 bowls, 1 fork, and like 6 spoons. But so 10 years, man. 10 years. Let's see. And I've done a lot. You know, I'm grateful for what the state has provided. It's provided a steady income,
which has changed over the years. We've gotten many raises.
Which has changed. It has provided security. You know what I mean? Like, I damn near always have a job. As long as somebody's out there, you know, committing crimes, I got a job. You know, I'm grateful that my work schedule is 4 on 4 off. So I work 4 days, I have 4 days off, which is very awesome. You know, work 6 months out of the year, get paid still pretty decent. You know what I mean? I'm not super rich, but I'm not like super poor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm decent. I do what I can. It helped me buy a house, you know, finance multiple vehicles, you know, for me, for my wife. It's done what it's supposed to. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that.
Have you moved a lot?
I have moved 3 times in the 10 years that I've been with the state. I went from my little duplex condo thing to a house, and then from that house I ended up buying my own house, you know, on some land, something that I could invest in and potentially start a family, potentially build in, you know what I mean? Like, this is mine, as opposed to the other 2 that weren't really mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've moved a few times, different cities, from where I grew up to where I am now. I was an Army brat, so we moved a lot. I wasn't born in the state that I'm living in now. I was born in a different state.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah, we moved here when my father retired from the Army. I was 28 when I started at the prison, and I got a little apartment about 30 minutes away. And I lived there for a year. After that, I rented a house in the city. So I was like 10, 15 minutes away. And now I'm actually in the process of paying for a house that I bought. So I am now a resident of this little city that I live in. But when I first started, I was single for the most part. I had a girlfriend that lived in the old town, but we were kind of already splitting up. She wanted to go do her own thing. I was moving away, so we decided just to end it. And I was single for a little while. I ended up meeting my ex-wife a few years into the prison. We got married, split up shortly after that, and I had my son. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the opportunities that the prison has given me, financially and with, like he said, job security. I know I'll always have a job. I've actually changed a little bit in myself. When I was younger, and not just the prison, but being in the military, because I was a Navy reservist for 8 years. Really has opened me.
He was a seaman, guys.
I was a seaman. Opened my mind and really got me out of my comfort zone. So I was able to express myself a little more than I was when I was younger. So I'm very, very grateful for everything that I've learned. Let me ask you, in your years at the prison,
Okay.
you've seen different situations. You've been through a lot. And we mentioned before you becoming a supervisor. How did you look at those situations differently, from a CO to a supervisor's point of view?
Well, as a CEO, it's really kind of, you're just focusing on this one building where you're assigned, and that's really all you have to worry about. You clock in, you clock out, you go home. All the other stuff kind of relies on your supervisor and falls onto them. As a CO, I was focused on, hey, I need to work this pod. I need to make sure everything on this pod goes good, because my supervisor is in charge of the entire facility or the entire one building, whether it be a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or above. As a sergeant, where I was a sergeant at was on an intake facility, so I was kind of running the entire length of the unit. You know what I mean? I was in charge of either one side or the other side, not just one specific building. So it was more about.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but kind of picture it like this: we work at a super center Walmart.
Yeah.
He was in charge of what would be like the vegetation center
Or the electrics.
or the electric. It was something small compared to the big picture.
The bigger picture. And it was still kind of just, I need to focus on my people. I need to make sure my officers have what they need in order to conduct their job successfully. And then when I became a lieutenant, man, it was a whole different can of worms. Because now I'm not just over one building. I am over the entire multi-million-dollar facility. Everything is on me. Everything that goes right is me. Everything that goes wrong is me. Anything that could possibly happen is either my fault. You know what I mean? So it was different. I not only had to worry about just my supervisors that were underneath me, which were my sergeants, I also had to worry about my COs. And, just the all-around picture, everything was on me. And the only way that I could do it successfully was if I trained my sergeants the right way, if I trained my COs the right way, if I gave them every tool necessary in order to complete their job to the fullest.
Now let me ask you, mental health wise, which one was the most stressful, and which one affected you the most when things went wrong and when things went good?
Stressfully, man, as a CO, it was just like, that ain't my problem, that's my sergeant. As a sergeant, man, I was a sergeant during COVID.
Ooh, good times.
At one point, I was the only supervisor from my shift that went to work, because my other co-sergeants, whether it be my lieutenant, my captain, people above me or below me or next to me, had COVID. I was the only one, and I was working like a dog. I ain't gonna lie, I was at work a lot. There were times where I'd come home, sleep for 2 hours, and go right back.
Yeah, COVID hit bad.
You know what I mean?
COVID hit bad.
It sucked. And then as a lieutenant, man, stress-wise, mental health-wise, that was a lot. You know what I mean? As a sergeant at the time, where I did 3.5 years, where I did it at, I don't want to say it was rocking and rolling, but it was rocking and rolling. You know what I mean? I was out there doing what I had to do, managing and maintaining these offenders, managing and maintaining my staff, ensuring that things were done properly, situations were taken care of that needed to, appropriately. That was very interesting. It was very hard, because at the end of the day, there were some decisions that I had to make that I couldn't make because I wasn't high enough. I needed my lieutenant, and my lieutenant unfortunately wasn't worth a damn. And hey, it is what it is. So as a lieutenant, I strided to be better than my past supervisors. I'm sure in whatever job we've had supervisors that we love and that we do anything for, and we had supervisors that were just straight ass. They sucked. They wouldn't do anything. They were just sorry as shit. I always strive to be there for my people, and do what I had to do. But like mental health wise, man, lieutenant was definitely the biggest struggle I had, and not even so much as a struggle. It was just more mentally exhausting because again, everything lied on my shoulders, on decisions that I made. If I made a bad decision and got somebody hurt or something happened, I had to live with the mental health part of that, of knowing, hey man, I made that decision, I made that happen. Or hey man, I got somebody hurt today,
Let me ask you, because for me, being a supervisor means leading your people.
Oh, for
it
sure.
It means
for sure.
Doing what you would ask others to do, or be willing to do what you ask others to do. Because we look up to our leadership, we look up to our sergeants, we look up to our lieutenants to be able to do some. If they want us to do it, we have to be able to see that they're willing to do it themselves. What do you think makes a good supervisor?
I've always been, I don't lead from the top. I don't lead from standing on top of my chair with people carrying me, telling me, hey, go this way. I lead from the front of the line saying, hey, let's go do this and we're going to do it together. If I ask somebody to do something and they didn't understand, I would take them and say, hey, man, let's go do it together. I'm going to show you. This is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. And this is why I need it or want it done. It was more of showing them and teaching them why. Because there are going to be a lot of them that question, man, well, why? Well, how come? Well, who said? You know what I mean? Whether I agreed with the decision I made, whether it came from somebody else who told me to do it, it was still my job to not necessarily trick, but to encourage my people. Let's say, for example, he was my captain and he told me to do something as his lieutenant that I didn't agree with. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do it because that's my captain and he said do it. So I have to go down there and teach my sergeants and explain to them, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is why we're going to do it. I had to believe it in order for them to believe it, because if I didn't believe it, they weren't going to believe it. And that's just really how it is, man. When you supervise, whether it be a sergeant, it's for your people. Whether you be a lieutenant, it's for your people. It's not about you. It's not about what you can do. And unfortunately, there's some people that are out there that are like that. And it's really shitty. I made sergeant because of what I did as a CO. Now, when I went from a sergeant to a lieutenant, it's because of what my people did for me to make me look good as a sergeant, to promote me to lieutenant. And when I made lieutenant, it's what everybody underneath me did for me to make me look good. Because without them, we're nothing. I can't run a multi-million-dollar facility by myself. I have to have staff. I have to have resources. I have to have people to help me.
Let me touch on something you said earlier about combative COs. When it comes to insubordination, did you find it more difficult to deal with that with a CO than it is with an inmate?
For sure. Because at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but an inmate's going to mind. He's going to comply. Whether he does it on his own free will or we have to do what we have to do in order to get him to comply. As an officer, it's hey man, you got to learn how to talk. You got to learn how to speak to people. You got to learn how to verbally judo and mind fuck somebody to get them to understand, hey man, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. Insubordination came around. I'm not doing it. That's cool, bro. You can go home. I don't need you. Simple. You're going to run out of time before I run out of what I need to do. I learned a long time ago, when we're short is when we run the best, as opposed to when I have a lot of people who are trying to be too many chiefs and not enough Indians and doing what they want. So, I mean, I ain't afraid. I'll send somebody home. I don't care how short I am. I didn't care how fat I was. I didn't care if I had to take over that spot. Hey, dude, you're going home. If you're not gonna be a part of the team, I don't need you. Kick rocks.
Do you remember your best day as a supervisor?
My best day as a supervisor. I mean, I don't really have a best day. I have good days and I have bad days. I don't have a day that stands out. It's like, oh my god, this is the best day I ever had type
I
deal.
guess what I mean is, like, do you remember, is there an instance where somebody came up to you and says, I want you to know that your leadership has pushed me to do this, or because of you, this got done and we appreciate it?
Not necessarily exactly like that, but so like I said before, I was a sergeant for 3.5 years. I was a lieutenant the first time for 10 months and the second time for 3 months. When I demoted the second time after that 3 months, that was the roughest time I've ever had, because I had people coming up to me daily, and still to this day people come up to me and was like, man, why did you do that? Like, we need you to come back, and I only did these things because of you, because I was trying to help you. I wanted to do it for you. I'm not going to do it for this guy or that guy or anybody else.
And I will testify, I've been around those recently who've come up to him and be like, it wouldn't be like this if you were still a lieutenant.
Yeah,
You had things organized and on point.
and not saying that it's bad right now. It's just different supervisors run things differently. I was a supervisor that had a backbone and wasn't afraid to say no. I'm not doing that, and you're not gonna make me. This is my shift. I'm gonna run it how I want to or what I need to make sure my people go home safely. At the end of the day, that's what really matters. I don't care about me. I don't care about anybody else. As long as my sergeants go home, as long as my COs go home the way they walked in, I ain't gotta call nobody's family, tell them that they got hurt. I ain't gotta send nobody to the hospital. I don't have to worry about things like that. Yes, they might come out a little tired, but hey, man, that's part of the job. That is what it is.
The one thing that I say that the state has definitely taught me is to work tired.
For real.
Now, not getting the let me try to phrase this question properly. We don't get a lot of thank yous. We don't get a lot of recognition.
sure.
We don't get a lot of, hey, good job.
That's mainly because people don't understand what we do. Like, a lot of people say we're not first responders, but I'm sorry, man, we keep your nightmares in. The people that society has deemed unnecessary and unfit to live in this world to be your neighbor, I have to watch every day.
Do you think, because we don't get those thank yous and those attaboys, does that affect you mentally to want to continue to do your job?
It makes it very difficult. Some people are built different. I've never been the kind of guy that needs that attaboy good job, but it is nice to hear. Everybody loves that compliment and I don't want to say necessarily needs, but likes to hear that, hey, man, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. All right, dude, I'm proud of you. That's what's up. Keep going. All right, man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm looking at you. I see you. We get a lot of negativity on top of the negative environment that we already work in. You know what I mean? Because you can go up to any criminal and be like, hey, man, what are you in here for? What are you talking about, dude? I'm innocent. I've never met a guilty criminal ever. In my 10 years, I've never met a guilty criminal. So we already live in a negative environment, and then to be seen by the public as negative, or, hey, man, you're not good enough. You're not a first responder. You ain't a cop. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool, bro. I'm not a cop. You're right. 100%. I don't know, man. Like I said, I keep your nightmares in while they catch them and hold them for a little bit. I mean, it's one of those things where we, as correctional staff, are unappreciated in the state that we live in. People say they recognize us, but they really don't. You know, and then don't get me wrong. You know, there'll be places where, like, I've gone to the grocery store in uniform real quick outside of work, and hey, man, I know what you do. Thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you do. It makes you feel good, because not everybody understands the life of a correctional officer. Nobody understands what mental health strains it has on us as opposed to our family. And that's true, you know, like, they don't live the life we live. They don't walk in my shoes. If my boots could talk, man, holy shit, the stories they would tell you.
So, y'all out there, if you know a CO, if you see a CO at the store, don't be afraid to go up to them and say, hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you have to go through for our safety. And that can go for anybody. A mother, a father, a brother. Go up to somebody and just tell them thank you. Express your gratitude for what they do for you in your life. You don't know how that can affect someone, how that can change someone's mentality in that day. Maybe they're looking for that thank you to give them that peace of mind for that day. So please be kind to one another. Go and express your gratitude for those that you love, for those that you don't even know. John, I want to thank you for everything you do.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. And like I said, it's a challenge. It's difficult, to wake up every day and do the things that we do. So those of y'all that are out there that do walk the same path as us, that have been in the same path, or continue to grow in the path that you're in, and man, I appreciate you. I really mean that.
Us
I know
here,
what it's like.
us here from Echoes of the Pod, we appreciate you. Now, I want to ask you, working with somebody 16 hours a day,
Okay.
let's say 7 days, because 4 on, 4 off, you work 7 days because you have a mandatory overtime because we are so short staffed.
You have to work.
You have to work with somebody. You work with the same person for 16 hours.
Oh man, it's a whole nother family.
You build a relationship.
I already
correct?
know where you're going.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I already know where you're going. I have friends that have become more like family to me than some of my own family. You know what I mean? It's crazy because I spend more time with these people at work, outside of work, than I do, like I said, my own family. I spend holidays with them. I spend 12 to 16 hours with them, sometimes more. It's crazy the bond that you have and that you forge with these people that you work with every day in any situation, because at the end of the day, the people you work with, you have to trust them, because we live in a very dangerous, or not, because we don't live, we work in a very dangerous environment.
No, you're right. We live there.
Yeah, we
live there. As much as we work there,
I live there.
we live there.
I love the controlled chaos of the penitentiary, so I definitely live there. But yeah, man, relationships are very important. You form, like I said, best friends, acquaintances, accomplices, whatever.
I mean, some have built stronger relationships. They've gotten married.
Yeah.
They have kids.
Yeah.
So it's like you're joining a whole new world. Mm-hmm. It's not just a job. This is a whole new world that you're entering. You're meeting people from all over the state that you're in, or even different states that come to the state that you're in to work at this prison, and you get to know them over the time, and you get to just spend, like you said, holidays with them, all day with them. You get to know them, and then you get to
work night shift.
Yeah, you build relationships, and some turn into more than just a friendship. Some turn into marriages. Some turn into having kids. Some turn into divorce. Mine turned into divorce. We stress. We both worked at the prison, different areas. I was a CO at the time, and she worked at a different department. She was, I think, grievance. And we got to know each other. We were both nerds, and it just one thing led to another. We ended up dating. We ended up getting married.
Man, they had a baby.
Yeah, babies. It just turned out that the mental stress that we were both under was too much for us to handle together.
It happens.
She was a certain type of person. I was a certain type of person, and we just clashed when it came to trying to help each other mentally. So it didn't work out.
And one of the things with that is, it's hard to talk to somebody who doesn't understand what we do. You know what I mean? Like, my wife, unfortunately, doesn't work for the prison, and she's never going to work for the prison. Let's get that clear. That shit is dead. But her family did. Her mom did. Her dad did. They did 20 plus years in the prison system. I mean, so they understand. I'm not saying that she can't do it. It's just I, as the man, don't want her to. You don't have to be exposed to the things that I'm exposed to. I'm already fucked up enough as it is.
Let me tell you, the difference in the experiences that women go through in the prison system. Now, I hate to say it, make it sound so like, oh, women and men are different. It's different because
very different.
These
I'm
guys
not attractive to a man. Sometimes, some of them.
I wouldn't say all.
Some of them.
I'm not. No, even some inmates. Even some inmates are. This is just tight.
You know what I mean? But then you have a female. You're around men who've been in prison either 20 years, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the case may be, their whole life. They ain't seen a woman in years. So unfortunately, you know what time it is.
Statistically, most of the employees that get fired for having relationships with inmates are women. And they fall for the game. These guys, they spend all day thinking of how they're going to manipulate anybody and everybody.
Con games, look into it.
And so they end up falling for the game. They fall in love. They start bringing stuff in. Well, they get caught and they get fired. It's just, it's an unfortunate.
Usually it starts with something simple.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you smell good.
Yeah.
Damn, you have beautiful eyes. They get the attention they're not getting in the world.
Yeah.
They're getting the attention they're not getting at home. The attention they're seeking. You know what I mean? It's different. Some people come to prison to find love, which is not very smart. Just saying.
Yeah. So mentally, it's stressful. I don't want to say it's more stressful for men than it is for women. We each have our own different type of stress. I
And
just
handle it differently.
yeah, I just feel like when you go in there and you get to know these people, you become a family. They're the ones that are watching your back. They're the ones that you can talk to when you're having a bad day, when you're mentally unable to cope with what's going on. They have this program called CRISP, which for the life of me, I can't remember what it stands for.
Don't ask me.
But it's basically officers that are trained in dealing with mental health situations. They're there to talk to you, to listen, and to help you go through what you need. So if you know anybody who are CRISP members or who are working for the prison, give them a shout out, give them a thank you, and definitely if you need help, talk to them. On a side note, I didn't mention this earlier. If you need any assistance mentally, if you're having thoughts of suicide, please dial 988. That is a suicide and lifeline. They also have a website. It's 988lifelong.org.
.org. Not .com.
No, it's .org. So please, if you're having issues, reach out to somebody. Reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. We would love to help you out. We'd love to be a part of your growth as a person mentally. We all need it. I know I need it. I'm still struggling mentally with some things that I got going on in my personal life and in my work life. I know John is as well. So
if you have any questions or you have any comments, you have any concerns that you would like to express to us, our link to our email will be down below. Feel free to email us. We will reach out to you. We'll reply, in a timely manner. Give us some time. We're humans. We have lives. So we will do what we can to help you in whatever way we can possible.
DM us on YouTube. We are going to have a Discord, TikTok. So all those links will be down below in the description. So please feel free to reach out. Don't be afraid. We are here to help y'all.
A lot of people think that what we do is just, oh man, you're just babysitting. And you know what? For the most part, yeah,
we are.
You show right.
Yeah, we are.
But we're not babysitting when two inmates get into a fight and one kills the other. Or we run in on a cell because the inmate hung himself because he got a love letter from his wife or his girlfriend who broke up with him. Say, hey man, I can't support you no more. You've been in prison too long. I need to move on.
Or they lost a mother. They lost a father.
A family member. It's another holiday without their family member.
Yeah.
They end up committing suicide. They end up killing each other. They end up, hurting each other beyond first aid. Where we have to run in and see those dead bodies hanging. We have to run in and run through all the blood, or people who've cut themselves and there's blood all over the wall, or the mental health inmates who smeared shit all over themselves that we have to run in there and go get. So it's not just babysitting. It's not just fun and games. I mean, hostage situations. I've been through two. You know what I mean? 2 hostage situations. I've seen many different things. Inmates kill themselves. Inmates slit their throat. Inmates stab himself in the eye with a pencil because he was a mental health inmate. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. It's not just, hey man, make sure this guy don't leave type deal.
I saw an inmate get stabbed 94 times because he had his cellmate's child's picture with his family or with his pictures. I'm not going to specify what pictures he had them with, but they were not good pictures. So the guy stabbed him 94 times. We counted. Mm-hmm. That was definitely an experience that I'll never forget. That will be with me for the rest of my life. That was my first, and to be honest, that was my first dead body. It was kind of, it messed with me mentally. Mm-hmm. That was my first dead body. I've never experienced that before, and so seeing that really, it affected me in a way that I didn't expect. It didn't affect me because it was a dead body. It affected me because I was unfazed. I wasn't phased by seeing the dead body, because I don't know, some people are like, if they see a dead body, they throw up, they freeze, they panic. For me, it was like, it's just another body. It's just somebody there, and that scared me. In a way that am I psycho? Am I unfeeling? Do I not have feelings? What's going on? Why does this not affect me?
I think that just has more to do with you didn't really know the person type deal. Because I know there's been multiple incidents where we've run in, inmates have been dead, inmates have been stabbed, and they're dying, and we're sitting there trying to do CPR, trying to save their life, and it's just, hey man, it's another day, in the penitentiary. You get up, you walk away, you go do what you gotta do, and you continue on. It's like business as usual.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that because that is somebody's loved one. That is somebody's, father, son, brothers, whatever the case may be, husband, boyfriend. But it's just one of those where you've seen so much, man, and you're just unfazed by it now. it's
And that scares me.
desensitized.
It scares me.
And it should be, man. That's a scary thing. See a dead body and not really give a damn. And just kind of move on with your day. You know, it's different. It's very different.
Louis,
Like I said, there's.
let's ask you, what was your mental health in the military compared to the
Oh,
prison?
yeah. So in the
Production manager, by
military,
the way.
yeah, production manager asking us good questions. In the military, it was a whole different beast. One, because I was only a reservist, so I wasn't really around it 24/7. It was 1 week in a month,
Might have done
2
it.
weeks out of the year. I would put my uniform on. I'd go do some trainings. I'd go to work. Now, structurally, it was more disciplined in the military than it is at the prison. What I mean by that is that when our supervisors gave us an order, we didn't question it. Didn't matter if I thought it was stupid. Didn't matter if I thought it was wrong. If he told me, hey, you need to go do this, I went and did that. In the prison, it's a little more forgiving. Lenient is a good word.
Lenient.
If my supervisor was to tell me, hey, go do this, and that was to put my life in danger, I'm going to tell him no. I've seen it. I had this experience. Me and a couple coworkers of mine, with our canines, we went down to a pod, and the desk boss is a person who sits at a desk and runs pretty much the whole building.
Monitors traffic.
They monitor the
direct
traffic. Yeah,
you
they
know,
they direct orders that were given from them from their supervisor to the rovers of the separate pods. Well, anyway, we were super short, so there was one pod that had no rover and no picket boss. Now, the picket boss is the person who sits in the picket
and controls the door.
and he controls all the doors, all the inmate cells and the sally port doors. The sally port is where you walk into the pod. Well, the desk boss is just sitting there. She's playing on the phone. It's midday. We go to one of the pods. All of the doors are open. All the sally port doors are open to each section and to the entrance to the pod. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors that are open. All the inmates
No bueno.
are on the day room.
No bueno for sure.
That is 48 times 3.
I can't
That's
do math.
144 inmates on the
Fact check
ground.
that real quick.
Sir, we count
48 times 3.
on a daily basis.
apologize.
We
I
count on a
apologize.
daily basis.
Not
I
very
can't.
well.
Yep, you're right.
This is why we can't clear
total
count.
for a pod is 144.
This
I
is why we
apologize.
can't clear
I
count.
apologize. Fact check. It was right.
But my point is, she sat there with 144 inmates at 50 feet away from her, who could have easily rushed her, attacked her, did things, killed her, and then went and took over the prison.
Took over the entire building.
Took over the entire building. That is something that she was not aware of. And so for me, she told me, because I went and I talked to her, I said, what are you doing? Why is this happening? Why is this like this? Oh, well, my captain said we had. I said, no, I don't care what your captain said. I'm calling the warden, which I did. I called the warden. I say, hey, look, warden, this is what's going on. We're racking everybody up. He says, absolutely, rack him up. By racking them up, I mean putting them back into their cells.
Their assigned
And
cells.
that's what we did. Me and my coworkers, we went and we put everybody back in their assigned cells. I closed all the doors and I told the desk boss, don't ever put your life at risk like that again.
Especially when someone else tells you to do it. Like I said, I wasn't that type of supervisor. I wouldn't tell you to do something I wouldn't do. I mean, that's not how that works.
Exactly. Which is why I mentioned earlier, a good supervisor is someone who leads by example, not barks orders.
Lead from the front.
So I want to thank everybody for listening to our rants about mental health, about the prison. But I do want to kind of end things on a lighter note. I want to talk about magic a little bit.
Because like we stated before, not only are we about the prison, not only are we about mental health, but we also are going to talk about Magic the Gathering. We're going to take a break from talking about mental health and about the prison system. We're going to talk about another hobby. Like I said, this podcast is about our journey through the prison system, mental health, and a little bit of Magic the Gathering. So in front of us, we have our favorite commanders. We're going to take the time to talk about each one individually, either our favorite card in the deck or how we built this deck or what what win conditions we have. So let's go ahead and dig a little bit into that. Who do you have today?
I have Tiamat. Tiamat is a 7 cost commander, 2 generic, and then Wooburg, which is white, blue, black, red, and green. And she is a 7/7, 7 power, 7 toughness, legendary creature, dragon, and god. And her text says she has flying. When Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle.
Real quick, are we sure Tiamat's a girl?
Tiamat is, in fact, a female.
Magic lore. I didn't know that.
It's actually D&D lore.
D&D lore. I apologize. Learning new things every day.
Yeah. When I play this commander, when I play this deck, it's one of my more powerful decks. I want to say it's probably a bracket. It's an optimized bracket 4. I do have a lot of win conditions in this deck. Draco Genesis being one, where I may cast my dragon spells without paying the mana cost, which then allows me to play Tiamat for free, and then all the dragons that I find, they play for free. I have Coalition Victory, 3 generic, and then Wooburg. Again, I win the game if I control land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. Which, as long as I control Tiamat, I have a bunch of creatures. I have all the basic lands. Ancient Copper Dragon is another one of my favorite dragons to bring out. 4 generic, 2 red, flying, Elder Dragon. That's a 6/5. Whenever Ancient Copper Dragon deals combat damage to a player, I roll a d20. I create any number of treasure tokens equal to the result. So it ends up with another dragon that I have, the Gold Span. I have a lot of mana to mess with. Also like Old Gnawbone, which is one of my favorite dragons of the whole deck. 5 generic, 2 green, legendary creature, dragon, flying. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So I'm creating a lot of treasures to be able to play a lot of different spells, play a lot of different dragons. So this one is mostly about just bringing out a bunch of flyers and killing the board. Many different ways. I got like, what's it called?
It's actually quite annoying, if I'm being honest. Me as your non-residential flying player, I don't do a lot of flying, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I'm 350 something pounds, so flying is very hard. But back to the Magic. I don't do a lot of flying. He does. So he just kind of flies over all my stuff.
Dragon Tempest is another card that I like to play. It'll ping my opponents for each time I play a dragon. Stuff like that. So, and then, of course, I have some that double the attack power or, give them double strike. So it's a lot of...
which means they hit twice, for those of y'all who don't know.
It's a lot of big creatures flying.
Did you build this deck?
I built this.
How long did it take you to build and optimize this deck?
It took, to this day, it took me maybe 3 years to really optimize this deck to what I have it now. It could be better. It could be...
Always. Anything can always be better.
But for I like the way I have it. I like the way it plays. It could be very fast if I keep the right hand. Most of the time I don't.
What is your one favorite card in the entire deck? Whether it be because of the art, because of the card itself, because of that card has a specific meaning to you. What is your one favorite card out of the entire deck?
I would have to say, honestly, Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel. It costs 1 white. It's an artifact creature, human soldier. It's a 1/1. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is the Esper Sentinel's power. It's a great turn 1 play. It works just as well as a Rhystic Study, and I don't know if you know this, but I love Rhystic Study.
I do know it.
So it helps me draw cards whenever y'all play different stuff. So for
how
me,
often do you actually get to use that card, or it be in your opening hand, if you can recall?
If I mulligan properly, it's usually there, but most of the time it's not.
Mulligan is not the way to go all the time, because you lose one card.
Well, the first one's free.
First one is free. That's how we play.
But if I get like a turn, if I had to put 3 cards away and I have 4 cards in my hand and I get, land, Soul Ring, Esper Sentinel, then I'm golden. So I play the land, Esper Sentinel, and then you play something, I draw a card, because everybody's gonna play a Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, some kind of mana ramp. Turn 2, turn 3. So I'll definitely capitalize on that. What about you?
So the deck I've chosen today for you guys is a Juggernaut. This is Gaz, the Unstoppable Juggernaut. He is an 8 generic or no color. He is a legendary artifact creature, Juggernaut. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have base power, toughness, 5/3, and are Juggernauts in addition to their other creature types. So with this card, this is a deck that I hand built. And with this deck, I put a lot of very low cost creatures, whether they be 1 drops, 2 drops, 0 drops. Ornithopter is in here, and I believe Ornithopter is a 0 drop.
Correct.
Flyer, a 1/1 flyer, or a 0/1 flyer. One of those.
0.
It is a 0/1 flyer. And so the whole point of this deck really is to just put a bunch of really, really, really itty bitty tiny, little cool creatures that don't really do much. Just kind of there, so nobody thinks you're the threat until you have approximately 8 mana and you just slap this big old Juggernaut on them, and it turns all your little small creatures into Juggernauts with base power and toughness 5/3. Gaz is one of my favorite commanders because it's just different. Like I said, I play a lot of janky commanders. I don't know if you can see it. He is a foil. I like the artwork on this one. He's just a janky commander, and it's what I do best. This deck took me, man, I'm still working on it. As y'all saw earlier while he was talking about his, I was switching some cards out that I actually got from him, my buddy, to help me out, optimize my deck a little better and put an actual win con in here, because there really is no win con. The win con is to make a bunch of 5/3s and hit at you, 20-30 damage. And on top of it, if I have flyers in there, they're flying Juggernauts now, that jump over everybody's creatures or fly over everybody's creatures. One of the win cons that I just recently got from him was it's Forsaken Monument, which is a legendary artifact. Colorless creatures you control get a +2/+2. So off the rip, boosting the Juggernauts, like it. Whenever you tap a permanent for a colorless mana, add an additional colorless. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. I pair that, again, I just learned about this combo with Basalt Monolith. Basalt Monolith is a 3 generic. For an artifact, Basalt Monolith does not untap during your untap step. You tap it, you add 3 mana to your mana pool. For 3, you untap. So with Forsaken Monument and Basalt Monolith on board, you tap for 3, but because Forsaken Monument, you really tap for 4, you get an additional 1. So then with that 4, you untap 3, you pay 3 to untap it, and then you tap it again. So now you have 5. Pay 3, untap it, tap it again. Now you have a lot. 4, because you get 4 every time. So you have a lot. So it just keeps building and building and building. You get this infinite mana.
He's working on his math. Don't worry.
Working on math. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a mathematician. So you do that infinitely over and over and over again until you have how much ever mana you want. And then you cast something like Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista has XX, and it says it is an artifact creature construct. When Walking Ballista enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, you pay 4 to put a +1/+1 counter on Walking Ballista. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Walking Ballista. It deals 1 damage to a target creature or player. So what you do is you tap this infinitely for infinite mana, and you put infinite +1/+1 counters on your Walking Ballista. When your Walking Ballista has infinitely amount of 1/1 counters on it, you remove your counters 1 at a time and start hitting everybody for 1 at a time until they're completely dead. That is actually, I believe, the only win con that is in this deck. I'm still, trying to go through it, optimize it in different ways that I can to make it better. And like I said, a lot of it's just kind of random stuff that I had that was colorless laying around that I threw together to make, my Juggernaut deck. This deck used to be really gross. It had Winter Moon and Winter Orb, which only lets you untap 1 land per turn. And then I also have a Defense Grid in here. Defense Grid is each spell costs 3 more to cast if it's not your turn. So if anybody's trying to counter me, they have to pay an additional 3 mana, which is a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot. I have other cards in here that players can't untap more than 1 artifact. which I believe is Imp statue, IMP statue. So that way your Mana Rocks, your Soul Ring, your Arcane Signet, your Demir Signet, your Rakdos Charm, or Rakdos Signet,
It just shuts down
artifacts. It shuts down a lot.
decks.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people hated it, because they didn't like to not be able to do things, and it drags on a game quite a bit. Because not only did that affect them, it also affected me, But then I also have additional cards in here that turn everything into artifacts. I have Unwinding Clock during every untap step, untap on all artifacts that I own. So his untap step, our partners, anybody else's untap step, I get to untap all my stuff while all their stuff is still kind of screwed. It helps a lot. It builds up different things, and it really just doesn't let people play, and it's not really fun, for everybody. I think it's fun because I like to be that asshole sometimes. I was like, nah, we're not doing this, or no, we can't do this. You know what I mean? And I have to find ways around it because not only does it affect them, it affects myself. You know what I mean? So
It's a good deck to play against. I always enjoy playing games.
He's a liar.
Speaking of, we will be playing periodically throughout these episodes. Maybe like once a week, twice a week. We're gonna sit down and do a four-player pod commander. Hopefully we can get some special guests on here. I do want to shout out there. Now I'm gonna preface this by saying these are not sponsors, but Dueling Guard makes some pretty cool deck boxes with some pretty cool art. They have different types. You just go to duelingguard.com. Again, they're not a sponsor, but I do like to shout them out. Also, AI Armor, who makes sleeves. These are pretty good sleeves. They're durable. They've lasted a little while. They got cool art on them. Also not a sponsor, but they do have some cool products. So AI Armor.
Not only does Dueling Guard have nice deck boxes, they also have binders. My favorite anime of all time is Dragon Ball Z, but my second favorite is Full Metal Alchemist. That is, I don't know if you could really see it, but that's kind of who's on this binder. It is a Full Metal Alchemist binder from Dueling Guard. And these are also not top loaders, they're side loaders, so you can load them from the side. This is where I keep my somewhat expensive cards and cards that I just haven't put in a deck yet. Kind of just laying around. I have them in the binder so that way they're protected. And I believe
You're a Dragon Shield.
I have Dragon Shields.
So we're also going to shout out Dragon Shield.
Not a sponsor, but if you were, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, Dragon Shield are also very durable. They shuffle well. I do enjoy their dual color matte colors. They also have play mats, deck boxes, stuff like that. So check out, and you can do custom sleeves with Dragon Shield. It's pretty cool.
So real quick, I want to talk about my favorite card in the entire deck. It's the most randomest card, and it's my favorite because I forget about it the most. The card that I picked is the Millennium Calendar. It is a 1-drop legendary artifact.
I like that card.
It says, when you untap one or more permanent during your untap step, put that many counters on the Millennium Calendar. Pay 2 generic, tap double the number of counters on the Millennium Calendar. When the Millennium Calendar has 1,000 or more time counters on it, sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. This card is in here for how much that I have to actually untap. Because like I said, my Juggernauts attack every combat. So they're goated basically. I attack every turn. They're gonna attack. They're gonna untap. So as soon as I untap them, counters. But I forget about this card all the time. I'll play it. I'll get a good 20, 10. I'll get about a good 6. Let's be real. I'll get about a good 6. Forget about the card the entire rest of the game. Everybody always makes fun of me because they're like, why is this in here? Because one of these days I'm going to get it right. I don't know when, but one of these
You'll
days.
remember. A little side note on that Millennium Calendar. When that set came out, Ixalan, I drafted on Magic Arena, and I drafted that card, and I actually won 6 out of my 7 games with that card.
That is interesting.
It's pretty cool.
That's a lot of untapping. 1,000?
I like that. I like that card.
Magic the Gathering is not also just a card game you can play. You can also play it online. Like he said, Magic Arena. It is an app on Android and iOS. So if you don't know how to play Magic, you want to learn to play Magic, that's a good way to start.
There's another site called Magic Online, which I haven't visited yet. I'm going to probably visit soon.
That's
but
all you,
that's
buddy.
on the PC. Arena is also available on the PC.
Other than that, I think that just wraps up today's episode, guys. We appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for the time that you've spent to watch this entire episode. If you made it this far, again, guys, don't forget our partner with Dubby. Our partnership with Dubby. EFTP69 at checkout. Get you that discount code. They have many different flavors. If you want to buy a shaker, they have many different shakers, regular, and some pretty interesting ones. If you like anime, they got some nice ones on there. You might want to check it out.
Yeah, so go ahead and
The
check out.
website is www.dubby.gg. Good game.
.gg.
Not .org, not .com, .gg. Go ahead and give them a shout out and check them out, guys. They're
Also,
pretty great. I
Also
enjoy it.
remember 988 if you're having some suicidal thoughts or help. You need help.
any kind of
mentally,
mental health help that you may need.
Yeah,
Please dial 988.
988
Don't
or
be
go
afraid.
to 988lifelong.org.
Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than a loved one or somebody else you may know. All right, again, hey guys, thank y'all for being here. I'm John,
I'm Louie.
and thank y'all for being with us on
Echoes from the Pod.
Y'all have a good day.
Good night.